Hello, everybody. Alrighty then. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the conversation we were having last night. The panel. So yeah, we're gonna give it a few minutes to give people a chance to come in. But while we're waiting, I'll go ahead and put some music on. Take care of something real quick. All right. Let's see now. Hey, hello, hail and be whatever. Bow. I guess you're saying bow, Felix. What's up, Doc? All right, we have some people in here. Good. Okay, so hail and bow. Okay, so if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in the chat here. Um, and it would appear that YouTube is being stingy again. Yes. Anyway, just let me try something here. Real quick here. Oh, come on. All right. All right. Well, hopefully the YouTube will fix that. It's saying one, but I think there's more than one watching. So, anyways, so with that in mind, hopefully, as I said, everybody had a good evening. So, anyways, Terry, we missed you last night. Would like to hear your thoughts on what we were talking about. Um, but anyways, so we're coming up. Okay, so I might as well just go. So what's on tap for tonight? I'm going to go over 3 articles tonight, all from Bounding into Comics. One of those. Let's see. So we got a release date being reported for reported release release date reported for the latest season of Rising of the Shield Hero. A little bit more on the Florida school district situation on banning. We Thursday and yesterday we talked about getting the graphic novel, the Diary of Anne Frank graphic adaptation taken down in Florida. We talked about that yesterday. They also that same group also got got banned the Assassination Classroom manga banned for its depiction of violence, and also um, some. So for the most part, it seems at times like the left doesn't know what it wants because they start crying for representation, and then now there's a story that came out last week, last Friday, where now it would seem, they had just been cheering for the race swapping of Ariel in Little Mermaid. Now they're mad because the girl they picked, who happens to be Hawaiian, just isn't dark enough Hawaiian to play the role of Nami in the live action adaptation of Lilo and Stitch. So we're going to be looking at that. We also will have the wrestling wrap up, and that, and that, and of course this day in each history. So why don't we go ahead and get started then? Actually, just give me a sec while I go off camera here. I'm gonna just take care of something real quick. I'll be right back here. Let's put some music on. And as stated in the banner below, of course, first off, if you haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With all that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started here then? So, let's get started with, of course, the first article here, one about the rising of the Shield Hero. Of course, this one has had, has pretty good anime from what I've heard. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but however, it did get some controversy when it first came out. So here you go. The Rising of the Shield Hero, Season 3, raises new trailer, confirms official release date. Article by Nerdigans Inc., published back on April 13th, which was last Thursday. So here we go. As the final grains of sand hit the bottom of the mysterious dragon hourglass, featured on the series' official website, Kadokawa and Kinema Citrus have finally announced a release date for the upcoming third wave of the Rising of the Shield Hero anime. The long-awaited reveal of the popular isekai's official return date was unveiled on April 7th, courtesy of a new trailer. So we could go this past Friday, basically. Confirming that the upcoming season will adapt the rebuilding and fallen heroes arcs of Haneko Usagi's original light novel series. The trailer begins with the reveal that while the kingdom of Melomark has been preparing for the guardian beast Phoenix's return, the sword hero Ren Amaki, who is voiced in Japanese by Yoshisugu Matsuoka, who voiced Inosuke Hashibara in Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, Bow Hero Itsuke Kawasumi, who is voiced in the Japanese by Yoshitaka Yamaya, who voiced Iori Hira in Digimon Adventures 02, the beginning, and Spear Hero Motoyatsu Kitamura, who is voiced by Makoto Takahashi, who voiced Kota Shibaki in Majimoji Rarumo Kanketsu Hin, are struggling with a heroic identity crisis and have gone missing. Meanwhile, Naofumi's newly acquired sanctuary for demi-humans, a span of territory including Raptilia's hometown of Lorolona village, which he purchased with his rewards from defeating the spirit turtle, may not be prepared to endure the wrath of the phoenix either. Um, uh, let's see what you have to say there, Felix. Season 2 is bad, at least in my opinion. I won't spoil it for you with details, and you might like it. Well, I'm gonna watch it at some point, but um, but thank you for that. We don't want to spoil it too much for anybody who wants to watch it. Um, but anyways, give me a moment. Anyways, however, according to the locust, the slave trader, scattered demi-humans of Luralona are being sold for outrageous prices at the Zeltobel slave market. As such, now Fumi, who is voiced in Japanese by Kaido Ishikawa, who voiced Sakuta Azusagawa, in Rascal Does Not Dream of a Sister Venturing Out. Raftilia, who is voiced by Asami Seto, who also voiced Noboru Kugisaki in Jujutsu Kaisen, and Philo, who is voiced by Rina Hidaka, who also provided the voice of Naon Yuno in Mato uh, Seihei no Slave, and Rishia Ivy Red, who is voiced by Natsuko um, Hara, who also provided the voice of Mania in Made in Abyss, decide to set off to the land of Zeltovel to liberate the slaves and add their power to their own. See if you guys are saying anything yet. Saying anything more. Uh, what's your favorite? Oot. Stinky Monkey don't have one. Let's see. What's your favorite 2000 anime? Can't remember off the top of my head. Hail and Bow Jason Myers is 57 minutes on your lives a new normal, or am I missing something? Well, Jason, I did actually recently cut the Monday through Thursday shows down to about an hour. Okay, so if you're seeing that, we're only like doing like 50 to 60 minutes because I cut it back down from an hour and a half to about an hour for the Monday through Thursday shows. The historical comic retrospect on Friday and the Sunday panel shows are still about, I slate for about 2 hours. But the Monday through Thursday newscast shows I'm only slating for an hour now. So that's probably what you were missing there. Anyways, finally, the trailer ends with the reveal that the third season of The Rising of the Shield Hero will rise in October 2023. Crunchyroll has also confirmed that they will be providing same-day simulcast for English-speaking fans. So they'll be doing the dub version on Crunchyroll as Japanese version is going as well. So. All right, so there we go with that one. Let's see now. And before we got it. All right, so with that, let's get ready to move on to our next article here. Now, of course, as some of you might know, we had been covering. So this is the same group that we were talking about yesterday, who had also got the graphic novel Diary of Anne Frank, a graphic adaptation, banned for for minimizing the Holocaust and also for being too explicit, too graphic for school age kids. But this is another thing the same group, Moms for Liberty, was also involved with. So, um, so here we go. Florida parents call for Assassination Classroom manga to be banned from school libraries due to its depictions of violence. Article by Nerdigans Inc., published on Thursday. As the saying goes, quote, never let a tragedy go to waste, unquote, unsmaller quote. And in searching for a target to blame for the recent shooting in Nashville, a group of angry moms have shifted their attentions from the usual favorite violent video games to Yusei Matsui's best-selling manga Assassination Classroom. I haven't read the manga itself. I've seen the anime, and I don't know if it's really a I know some people call but in regards to Assassination Classroom, it's but anyways, let's. According to the Florida Standard, just days after a transgender man robbed 6 people, including 3 children, of their lives at the Covenant School in Green Hills, Nashville, parents in the Hillsborough County Public School District began filing complaints over the school libraries carrying copies of Assassination Classroom due to its depiction of students actively trying to kill their teacher. Serialized in Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump from July 2012 to March 2016, Assassination Classroom follows the misfit students of Class 3E who are tasked by the Japanese government to prevent the Earth from being destroyed. Mm-hmm. Again, this is a manga, this is fantasy. um, As part of their training, the class must assassinate their alien junior high homeroom teacher, Koro Sensei, before the end of the school year. To make matters even sweeter, whichever student gets the kill will receive a 10 billion yen reward. Quote, it's stating the obvious to say that the theme of this book series is disturbing in light of the prevalence of school violence. Concerned parent Julie Gebhards told the Florida Standard. Yeah. Quote. But okay, but if they're gonna use, okay, the problem is they're trying to if they're trying to use the Nashville school shooting as a catalyst for trying, it's misplaced because in this case, first off, the shooter in that was an adult, was already an adult. They may have been a former student, but this isn't, you know, so, but then some people may argue that having mangas and comics in um in schools period is probably inappropriate, but that's not necessarily the case because I remember a movie starring a town torn apart where they emphasize the idea of utilizing comic books to help kids get into reading more. Quote, while the books have fictitious characters, the settings are realistic, quote unquote, she argued before questioning, quote, why do we have 70 copies of Assassination Classroom in middle schools, unquote. According to the Florida Standard, Yusei Matsui's Assassination Classroom is available in numerous quote unquote middle and high schools, unquote, throughout the district. At the time of the article's writing, 45 volumes of the manga were being actively checked out of school's library by students. Now, granted, while okay, there's other elements in it too that I think the parents are missing too. Yes, there is the whole idea of them being trained to try to kill their teacher, their homeroom teacher. But at the same time, first off, it's a mutated human. It's the characters are more or less fantasy. Um, okay, so this is not based on a real setting. Also, the teacher in question is also getting through. The teacher himself realizes he's the one who laid down who laid it down for them that yeah, I want to train these kids to kill me because I want to teach them. But interestingly, these parents were not alone in their efforts to get Assassination Classroom removed from school libraries, as the nonprofit group Citizens Defending Freedom announced on April 10th. They were likewise planning to campaign for the removal Matsui's manga from middle school libraries due to its quote violent and sexually explicit. I don't know if there's as much sexually explicit content in Assassin's manga. I think the big issue is really the violent aspect of it. Um, I don't really. Again, I don't really. Okay, I can see them wanting to get it banned or getting it off the shelves for the violence, aspect of it. Maybe the whole idea they think that maybe it might serve as a manifesto or a manual on how to kill your homeroom teacher. But um, quote, this is a nonpartisan issue, unquote. Citizens Defending Freedom's National Communications Director Kristen Huber told Fox 30 Tampa Bay, quote, we should be able to agree that violence toward teachers and explicit sexual content is not something that schools should be glorifying or promoting, especially on taxpayer dollars. Okay, I can kind of see their point there. Oh, I get it now. I get what they're probably upset about in the sexually explicit. Yes, one of the teachers, um, who has a Russian surname like that ends with like Vich, comes very close to they actually call a professor female dog, but you get the other term for it. This is not the first time Assassination Classroom has drawn the ire of American parents. 2019, a concerned mother of a student at Markham Intermediate School in Staten, New York, complained about the series' reference to classroom violence, which in turn resulted in the manga being pulled from library shelves. Quote, my biggest thing was, is it should have been, all right. was or is. It should have never been in that library, and I would love to know how it got there and who thought it was a good idea to do that. Unquote, the mother, who wished to remain anonymous, explained to Slive. Well, mangas are, they are generally written towards middle school and high school age kids. It is fantasy. Um, Again, just like we've always argued, whether it's comic books, manga, video games, even anime, even television series, these series are not as influential as people think to getting kids to do this stuff. Okay. Um. Okay. I mean, there. I mean, here's a question for you. If you know, if the whole idea of shooting up schools is manga's fault, right? If you're trying to say here that Assassination Classroom has such a big um, driver in making a lot of making these shooters shoot up schools, why don't we see more school shootings in Japan? A lot of the kids there, a lot of the middle school and high school age kids there read the same manga in their own language, of course, and yet they don't shoot up their schools. Why is it only in America? Okay, and before you say, well, because they don't have everybody they don't have the Second Amendment where everybody has a gun. Well, the thing is, if somebody really wanted to get a gun, they could. Okay, maybe in Japan they do have quote unquote stricter gun laws there. Now granted, a lot of the kids are also being trained in like martial arts and being, trained in, weapons use, like swords and all that, through their martial arts trainings. But a lot of Japanese middle school and high school age kids are reading the same material and are not there's other factors there that you're not taking into account. As of writing, Matsui's manga appears to have yet to be pulled from any Florida schools in relation to the above complaints. So, yeah. So basically, and I don't think it's going to be, just simply because it is fantasy. It's not reality. I mean, let me ask the parents something. When was the last time you saw some kind of big yellow rounded headed octopus like creature teaching your kids? Okay. Um like, really? Now to draw comparisons to what we were of course talking about, the material in this book, in terms of the sexual the argument of the sexual, um as compared to what we were covering with the Anne Frank graphic novel, um it's quite a bit milder. Okay. Yes, we said you have Professor Vitch, you know, um, who is scantily clad, but just, but that's not a big driver of the book. The driver of Assassination Classroom is more about, kids being trained by the Japanese government to save the world by killing their homeroom teacher, who had promised, from a year's time to whatever happened, that he would destroy the world. All right. So, you know, um, But anyways, like I said, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability here. Let's see now. So we just got done with that article. So we do have one more article over before we start to head out. So we're at the 30-minute mark already. So we're making good time here then. All right. So, anyways, let's get to this next article here. The last article we're gonna go over tonight. All right. So, Disney fans who supported The Little Mermaid race swapping attacked newly cast Lilo and Stitch live action remake actress Sydney Agudong for not being dark enough to play Nami. So the same people who were like, "Yay, let's race swap Ariel," are now upset because this actress, who is actually Hawaiian, and some people would argue, like you look at the two faces there, facial feature wise, hair length, all that, for these people who are arguing representation, they're mad because this girl apparently is not as dark as Nami from Lilo and Stitch. So, it's kind of like something that when Vera Dark was covering this the other day. Something like, this is why you don't give in to these people, because they're never happy. It's like, even if you give them an inch, they'll try to take a mile. You give them a mile, they'll try to take 100, like a football field. You give them a football field, they'll try to take a block. You get what I'm saying? Anyways, article by Spencer McCulley published this past Friday. So, hypocrisy, thy name is identity politics. After spending the past few months accusing everyone critical of Ariel's race swapping in the live action The Little Mermaid of being a hateful bigot, Disney's more identity politics obsessed fans have now hypocritically taken to outright attacking newly cast actress Sydney Elizabeth Agudong for not being adequately, in smaller quotes, dark enough, smaller quote, to portray Nami in the studio's upcoming live action take on Lilo and Stitch. Agudong's casting as the older of the film's two sisters was first announced on April 13th, so this past Thursday, courtesy of an exclusive published by Hollywood Reporter. An up-and-coming young actress of Filipino descent, whose most notable credits currently include guest spots on television series NCIS and On My Block, Lilo and Stitch will mark Agudong's first major cinematic appearance. However, despite being born and raised in the United States island state, Hawaii, Agudong has drawn the ire of the very, in smaller quotes, representation matters, unsmaller quote, crowd that Disney has spent recent years cultivating, as according to them, the actress is far too light-skinned compared to her character's depiction in the original source material. So that really, aside from that, though, her features are still pretty adequate. They're upset because she's not dark enough. So, quote, why isn't she Native Hawaiian? Question Twitter user Kwaya na. Okay, try saying that one. Quote, why is she so white? Nami is native. That is a major part of their story. I'm sure the actress is great, but this is why we need this to stop. This could have gone to a native actress for a native story. Actors start turning down these roles, maybe? Unquote. Yeah, they're going to refuse work because of you. Yeah, that's happening. That's happening. Now, she is a native Hawaiian. Okay? They just said she was born and raised on Hawaii. So she is a native Hawaiian. All right? Just because she's light skinned doesn't mean that she's not native. Quote, they cast so well for Lilo, so that makes this abhorrently colorist casting for Nami even more bizarre. Lamented Spider's Wars. Um, Quote, this casting is such an insult to brown skinned native Hawaiians and to fans of Nani. Um, Beyond disappointing. Yeah. I mean, she is native Hawaiian, though. Quote, seeing a lot of people who aren't indigenous saying, oh, but she's native, and ignoring the blatant colorism happening here. Okay, I don't understand how they're using the term colorism here because um, if they were okay, they would have. They're saying that okay, colorism would be the idea of saying that one skin color is better than another. If there are quote unquote colorist people here or colorist racists here, I would say it's the people who are complaining that she's too light skinned. I'd say those are the ones who are the colorist here. Argued Chow Pilled, quote, Sydney Agudong should not be playing Nani. Again, from what I've seen, and I think others have commented. I think others have commented on it too. Um, Outside of the skin tone issue, feature wise, she's still a good fit for Nani there. Um, you look at her facial features, you compare the noses, you compare the eyes, the hair length, the hairstyle. You know, aside from just simply the fact that she isn't dark, she isn't as dark as Nani is portrayed in the animated series in the cartoon. Um, I'd say she fits Nani fairly well. You know, um, if you're gonna sit there and say, "Oh, this is colorism," the people who are being quote unquote colorist here are the people who are saying that she shouldn't be playing Nani because she if they're trying to like disguise colorist as like just another way of saying racist, the people who are actually um, being colorist are the people who are basically saying that she shouldn't be playing it. So, but anyways, quote, whitewashing the Lilo and Stitch casting is not the same as casting Ariel as black, unquote. Wrote Anuhia Nihi Pali. Quote, positive POC representation subverts racism. Whitewashing canonically brown black characters does not. Whiteness has never been made a mockery of in the media. It is now. You guys are doing it. You guys are doing it. Um, so I mean, and this isn't even whitewashing. This is a native Hawaiian who is of Filipino descent. She's the thing is she's just not as dark as Nani is portrayed in the movie. To need that representation at all. She's not white though. She's of Filipino descent. Quote, dark-skinned women can't have anything. This is so disappointing, decried um, Mihi Milet Shamatsi. Yeah, she's got some brown in her. Maybe not as brown as she is depicted in the cartoon, but still, I'm not even gonna try to read that name, but the okay, I'll just call him at Ty 4, but at Ty 4 even wished physical harm upon the actress, tweeting, quote, a white Filipino playing a native Hawaiian Pacific Islander just because she was born and raised in Hawaii is disrespectful. And I hope Sydney Agudon, chokes. Well, I don't know if that's per se, if the person there is actually, to be fair, I don't think I don't think whoever this Thai 4 person is actually wishing physical harm to her. Okay. Choke also has a connotative meaning, connotative meaning in this particular case, meaning that she doesn't do well, that somehow she screws up. Okay. Whoever this person is may not actually be literally meaning that she physically chokes. All right, so to be fair on that. And what's more, while those opposed to Halle Berry's casting as Ariel made sure to direct their criticism at Disney and their corporate direction, those upset by Agudong's casting have taken to directly harassing and insulting the young actress through the comments section of a post made on her public Instagram page, which she shouldn't have to be putting up with that. Which it should be noted has seemingly not been utilized by Agudong in over a year. Quote, you only got the role just because you live in Hawaii, LMAO, declared Puck One Blinder. Quote, this is ridiculous. Well, she is a native Hawaiian, though. If she was born and raised in Hawaii, she is a native Hawaiian. Yeah, her skin color may not be as dark as Nani's. But aside from that, if there is, if there, from even from what I see, you just with going aside from the skin tone, you look at her features. I'd say she's a perfect fit for the role. Go by her features, not necessarily her skin tone. You just go by the features. I'd say she fits Nani to a T. Quote, you really took the opportunity for representation from all the darker skinned Hawaiian actresses who could have played Nani, and all the darker skinned little Hawaiian girls who will never get to see that representation, unquote. Bleated at ohiopo.co. Quote, get your bag, but just know we hate your guts for it. Yeah, these people are just outright delusional. again, this is why you don't give in to these people, because you give in now, you give in a little here, then they'll take a little more. You give in there until there's nothing left for you, nothing for left for them to take. You have to stand up to these bullies, and just put them in their place. Quote, with all the colorism that's been happening for centuries in Polynesian communities, Hollywood, it's absolutely disgusting that you, a pale, half white, half Filipino girl, would take the role of a dark-skinned Hawaiian woman, unquote, an angry Bluey Antra asserted. Quote, you should be ashamed of yourself. You robbed native dark-skinned Hawaiian women of this opportunity. I and millions of others will not be watching this movie. Hope you're happy. There'll probably be a lot of people who will watch it and will make money. Just have a very loud minority here who are just dumb. Okay, they're just dumb. I mean, she auditioned for a role, and just because she, it's kind of funny because when people were upset they just pointed that out here. People were upset at the casting of Halle Berry, the race swapping of Ariel. These people applauded that, and the people who were being critical of that directed the criticism at the casting directors. But no, these people had to criticize the actress. Why not go after the casting? If you have an issue with the casting, why not go after the casting directors? They're the ones who made the decision. Quote, the role of Nani was never meant for you, unquote, at Felicia the Goat. Oh, that's an interesting name, Felicia the Goat. Claimed, quote, that is one of very few dark-skinned Hawaiian movie characters, and you're just gonna reach your white hands and grab it. Gross. As of writing, Disney's live-action Lilo and Stitch remake has yet to receive an official release date. Yeah, that whole thing is just stupid. First off, Sydney Agudon, they said, is a native Hawaiian. Okay, she was born and raised in Hawaii, even if she is half white, half Filipino. Okay, she's still a native Hawaiian. She was born and raised there. Now maybe the argument here is I know a lot of these people maybe because if I understand correctly, I never watched Lilo and Stitch, but as I understand it, Lilo and her family are more more of the indigenous natives, and maybe that's what. But if you look, we saw the pictures of Sydney right there. We saw her. We saw the pictures of her. She let me just okay. Feature wise, she fit the build. She fit the build feature wise. So, I think these people are complaining about, making stupid complaints here. Anyways, I've got to go off camera for a moment and make some lighting adjustments here in my room. So I'll be right back, but I will put on some music while I'm gone. All right. So, anyways, so now with we've got all the. All right. So we got all the articles in. So let's see. So let's start to wrap. So now what we're gonna do, of course, we're gonna go through the wrestling wrap up real quick here. There are some. We'll go over Impact Wrestling's Rebellion pay per view. Some stuff happened there, but real quickly, just some. So the WWE did change the name of its the next Saudi Arabia show to Night of Champions. They're supposedly planning on having a celebration of Roman Reigns coming up on a thousand days of being the WWE champion. With that as well, now and there's another rumor kind of going about with that in that that they might at least I don't know if it would be temporary or what, but they might do a tag team title switch because they've had a policy every time they've done a Saudi Arabia show that they want all the titles to be defended on those shows. And right now, of course, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are the current undisputed World Tag Team Championship champions in WWE, but they might take the titles off of them for the Saudi Arabia show because I think at least Sammy, if not both Sammy and Kevin, are not actually allowed in Saudi Arabia for some reason. I don't know all the details, but they may be, before their next show, they may actually take the titles off of them, put them on somebody else so they can have a title match. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's see. AEW this week, of course, as they continue to prepare for, I think, Double or Nothing is the next. Now, Eric Bischoff on one of his recent podcasts had suggested that Tony Khan should make the main event for their All-In show coming up later this year at Wembley Stadium, Goldberg versus CM Punk. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Also, it was announced that AEW will be having a new Saturday show coming up soon. So you want to be staying tuned to that. And on this Wednesday's Dynamite, as it were. This Wednesday's Dynamite, as they continue to march towards Double or Nothing here. See what will be. Yeah. Double or Nothing shows coming up on Sunday, May the 28th. So that's what they'll be preparing for. Of course, this Wednesday's Dynamite show will feature. They'll be at the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The show will feature Dr. Britt Baker and AEW World Women's Champion Jamie Hayter teaming up to take on the Outcast team of Ruby Soho and Toni Storm. Powerhouse Hobbs will actually be defending the TNT title against two-time former champ Wardlow. The Acclaimed with Billy Gunn will be taking on the Jericho Appreciation Society trio of Angelo Parker, Matt Menard, and Jake Hager. and Jay White will be taking on Commander. So that will be going on this Wednesday. And also, some information on Impact Wrestling. As yesterday they had their Rebellion pay-per-view. The Countdown Show, of course, saw in the main event of the Countdown Show, saw the Coven of Kylan King and Taylor Wilde retain the Knockouts division titles over Jessica and Rosemary of the Death Dolls. Also on the show, in the second in a rematch that happened in a rematch between Shera and Singh taking on Heath and Rhino. Shera and Singh even the score by defeating Heath and Rhino in their match, basically outsmarting them. Now on the main pay-per-view, saw a number of things, including the returning Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis made his return to Impact Wrestling. The team now known as ABC, representing Bullet Club, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, retained the Impact World Tag Team titles over the Motor City Machine Guns. In a 4-on-3 handicap match, all four members of the design lost to the Director of Authority, Santino Marella, who was making his first in-ring appearance since 2014, as he teamed with Joe Hendry, the Impact Wrestling digital media champion, Joe Hendry, and Dirty Dango in defeating the design. PCO defeated Eddie Edwards in the Last Rites match. Trey Miguel retained the X Division title in an elimination match over Jonathan Gresham and Mike Bailey. In the Hardcore War match, Team Dreamer, captained by Tommy Dreamer, who also had Bhupinder Gujjar, Frankie Kazarian, Yuya Uemura, and Killer Kelly, defeated Team Bully of Bully Ray, Brian Myers, Kenny King, Masha Slamovich, and Moose. I guess Moose and Brian Myers replaced the Good Hands, who were originally going to be part of that team. And then due to the fact that Josh Alexander and Mickie James had to relinquish the Impact World and Knockout title respectively, new champions were crowned, in which Steve Macklin and Deonna Purrazzo became the new Impact World and Knockout titles respectively. Interesting little note here too is that Macklin and Purrazzo are actually husband and wife. They married during the pandemic. So that's going to be interesting. And particularly when Mickie James comes back from injury, it's going to be interesting to see if they maybe do kind of a rivalry between the husbands and wives. The Aldises versus Macklin Purrazzo. So with that, we're going to finish up here. But we're going to start to finish up here by taking a look back at this day in Neat's history. All right. So first off, we're going to head back 75 years ago, as on this date, 75 years ago today. As on this date, 75 years ago today. Should I pull that up? Robert McKinson's Warner Brothers cartoon Hop, Lock, and Listen premiered in movie theaters on this date back in 1948. As it stars, of course, Sylvester, and in his first appearance, Hippity Hopper. For those of you who don't remember, Hippity Hopper was the kangaroo that Sylvester would often think of was a giant mouse, the baby kangaroo who would be thought of as a giant mouse. So on this date in 1948 was the first appearance of Hippity Hopper in the Robert McKinson directed Warner Brothers Looney Tunes cartoon Hop, Lock, and Listen. So there we go with that one. Now moving on to 1953. Moving on to 1953. The 10th issue of Flippity and Flop from DC Comics went on sale on this date back in 1993 for 10 cents. It was a bi-monthly title featuring the characters, of course, Flippity and Flop, as well as Twiddle and Twaddle. On this date back in 1953, which was 70 years ago today, 10th issue of Flippity and Flop went on sale from DC Comics, known then as National Comics Publications, on this date back in 1953. And finally, on this date in 2018, 5 years ago today, in what was believed at the time was going to be her, renouncing of her retirement, SmackDown General Manager Paige confirms Team Absolution is officially disbanded. This was due to Paige's retirement from in-ring competition, as well as teammates Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville both being drafted to Raw after the 2018 the Superstar shakeup. So on this date, 5 years ago today, Paige, who's known as Saraya in AEW, confirmed the Absolution is disbanded due to her retirement and the others, being drafted to Raw. So there you go. So there you have it. Hope you all enjoyed the show tonight. So this Friday will be our latest episode of our historical comic retrospective. Terry from Mighty Geek Studios will be my co-host, and we will be, continuing our look at comics that went on sale in October of 1939. From this time, we'll be looking at Marvel. We will be going back to read one story from Marvel Comics #1, Kazar, and then be focusing the rest of the time on the books that went on sale in October, which was, of course, Marvel Mystery Comics #2 and Daring Comics. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. And I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow for more Niche News. Until then, bye!